Welcome to our channel, all friends. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe my channel and press the bell icon to stay update for new videos. Thanks. Let's start new video. Parents are such noble beings that there's no substitute for them, and I realized this far too late when my father passed away. My mother had already died a long time ago. After my father's death, I was left completely alone. I had younger siblings, but they were so small that they didn't understand anything about the world, and I was just 14 years old. When the responsibility of my younger siblings fell on me, I became extremely distressed. I had no relatives who would help us. People usually turn away from orphans like us, and our relatives did the same. Everyone cut ties with us. The only one who remained was my father's friend, Uncle Khalid. He was the one who used to visit our house often and had helped us a lot during my father's illness. That's why I considered him a benefactor, very pious and righteous. But that was my misunderstanding. Just because someone wears the cloak of piety doesn't mean they're truly righteous. Some people do good deeds only to fulfill their evil intentions in the background. And Uncle Khalid was one of those people. He took full advantage of my loneliness. He knew there was no elder left to protect me. One night he did something to me that still makes me shiver when I think about it. A 14-year-old girl just entering adolescence, unaware of the harshness of the world, is easy prey for someone like Uncle Khalid. That night was the worst night of my life. When I agreed to what Uncle Khalid asked, to secure a future for my siblings and to support my household expenses, I gave myself over to him. A 55-year-old man like Uncle Khalid completely crying made my face red. It was the fourth day after my father's death. I missed him terribly and was deeply worried about our situation. After crying my heart out, I wiped my tears and realized Uncle Khalid was looking at me with a smile. I could feel the heat of his gaze piercing through me. Nervously, I adjusted my scarf and covered my head properly, avoiding his eyes. Suddenly, he got up from his seat and sat beside me. My hands and feet turned cold. He was too close. Then he gently placed his hand on my head and said, "Why are you so worried, Rubina? You're not alone. I know your father is gone, but I'm here, aren't I?" He leaned closer, held my cheeks in his hands, turned my face toward him, and looked deep into my eyes. "I'll take away all your worries. Just don't cry like this. Such beautiful eyes shouldn't have tears into them." I could clearly feel the tone in his voice. Though I was only 14, girls even at that age can sense a man's intentions, especially girls like me who have seen the harshness of the world. I had also begun to realize the kind of intentions Uncle Khalid had. I hesitantly pulled myself back a little and with some hesitation said, "Yes, Uncle, I know that you were a very good friend of my father, and now that he's gone, you will look after us." Uncle Khalid suddenly grabbed my hand and said, "Of course, Rubina. I consider you all as my own. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to ask, even if it's the middle of the night. I'll come running." He kept moving closer to me, and the more I tried to lean back, the more he advanced toward me. I had ended up right at the edge of the sofa with nowhere else to go. He seemed to be enjoying the anxious look on my face. Then Uncle Khalid pulled some money out of his pocket, placed it in front of me and said, "Buy whatever you need, and whatever's left, I'll bring it to you myself." I looked away as I quietly thanked him. That money was very important to me at that moment. Otherwise, the way he was speaking, I would have never accepted Chita. He gently stroked my cheek and then said, "All right, doll, I'll come tonight. Take care of yourself and your siblings." Startled, I asked, "Why will you come at night?" He looked at me with surprised eyes and said, "Why? Don't you like when I come? I'll bring you something to eat, of course. Why else would I come?" He softened his tone and smiled warmly as he spoke. Avoiding eye contact, I replied, "Okay, sure." Uncle Khalid left, and I let out a deep breath of relief. I leaned back on the sofa and quietly shed a few tears. It was the cruelty of fate that I had to endure such behavior from a man. If times were different, I would have pushed Uncle Khalid out of the house for acting like that. But my helplessness forced me to accept his so-called kindness. Just 4 days ago, I had suddenly lost the shelter of my father. My mother was already gone. I had 4 younger siblings who were now my responsibility. I didn't know anything myself. I was just in 9th grade. Everything had changed so quickly, I hadn't even had a chance to process it all. My father's funeral had passed, and then everyone went back to their own lives. Not a single person from our paternal family even turned back to check on us. After my mother died, my maternal family had already drifted away. The only one who kept showing up at our door was Uncle Khalid. Sometimes he'd bring food, other times some money. But until now, I hadn't understood the reason behind all this kindness. And today when he came to give me money, and the way he came close to me while speaking, I finally understood the true reason behind his generosity. And now, thinking about what could come next, I was trembling with fear. I had thought that Uncle Khalid was my father's old friend, and perhaps that's why he was helping us. But it didn't take me long to understand that nowadays, no one helps anyone without a personal motive. I was still sitting on the sofa when my little sister, who was 9 years old, came running to me. "Baji, please give me food. I'm hungry," she cried, asking for something to eat. The food Uncle Khalid had brought was in the fridge. I warmed it up and fed her. I had another little sister and 2 younger brothers. I gave them all food as well and then put them to bed. But I stayed awake, lost in my worries. What would happen next? How would the household run? How would I live without my parents? Nothing made sense to me. Uncontrollably, I began crying, remembering my father, so kind, so loving. I used to argue with him all the time, saying he didn't care for us or fulfill our needs. But the truth was, after my mother passed away, I was deeply consumed by grief, and I took out all my frustration on my father. My sense of helplessness always turned into anger toward him. But now, after his passing, I finally understood that he was everything. He was the one who truly cared for us, the one who fulfilled our needs even before we had to ask. He managed both his job and the house so well that we never felt any lack. When I'd wake up in the morning, our school uniforms were already ironed. At night, he'd do the laundry himself, wash the clothes, iron the uniforms, cook food, and leave it for us in the fridge before heading off to his job. He fulfilled both the roles of mother and father, but while he was alive, I never understood any of it. I never noticed his efforts nor appreciated his love. Sometimes we only realize the value of certain relationships once they're gone. And today I was realizing just how essential my father was to us. Evening had arrived. When my siblings woke up, I helped them with their schoolwork. I didn't want anything to interrupt their education. I wanted them to continue studying, and I also wanted the house to keep running. For that, I knew I had to do something. I was constantly calculating in my head, trying to figure out what kind of work I could do that would allow me to continue my studies while also supporting the household. But nothing was making sense. After helping my siblings with their homework, I gave them dinner and put them to bed early so they could wake up for school in the morning. Only a short while had passed after they fell asleep when someone knocked at the door. I quickly got up to open it. Uncle Khalid had come to our house. Seeing him there at that hour made me feel uneasy. Maybe it was because of what I had sensed earlier that afternoon. His presence at this late hour deeply unsettled me, but I couldn't stop him from coming in. He had been visiting us like this ever since my father was alive. He was holding some fruit and a few shopping bags. He placed the bags in front of me and said, "I've been noticing, Rubina, you're always in the same clothes, so I thought I'd bring some new clothes for you all. I went shopping." He started opening the bags one by one. He had brought some really nice clothes for my younger siblings. I thanked him. But the moment he opened the last shopping bag, I was stunned. As he laid out the clothes, he said, "These are for you. You're so pretty and beautiful, but I don't know why you wear such dull clothes. These just don't suit you." Uncle Khalid criticized my clothing and handed me the new clothes, saying, "Go try these on. Let's see how you look." With trembling hands, I took the clothes from him. It was a very thin, sheer outfit, almost see-through, a short top and loose trousers. The shirt was so short that if I lifted my arms, my waist would show. It was also very tight, with a deep neckline. The outfit looked like something a model would wear. Nervously, I asked, "Are these clothes really for me?" He replied, "Yes, this is what's in fashion these days. I don't know why you wear those loose, old-fashioned clothes. I bought these from the city's biggest market. They're very expensive and will look great on you." He continued, "Your clothes look so outdated. You're so beautiful, but you don't know how to dress. And on top of that, You wrap yourself up in that long dupatta. You don't look good like that at all. Now go. Try these on. I shook my head and said, I don't wear clothes like this. Hearing that, Uncle Khalid gave me a strange look and firmly said, go and put them on. There was authority in his voice. I stood up nervously and went to the bathroom. As soon as I wore those clothes and looked at myself in the mirror, I looked away in shame. My fair complexion and delicate figure were fully exposed in that outfit. The shirt didn't even have sleeves. My bare, fair arms were completely visible. The next morning, I got my siblings ready and sent them to school, but I had nothing to feed them for lunch. The money Khalid uncle had given me was spent paying the electricity bill, and though he had promised to bring food, he didn't return by noon. My brother and sister had to stay hungry. By evening, when there was still no food, I reluctantly called Khalid uncle. Despite my disgust, he said, I'll bring food, but only if you agree to my condition. Tonight I forced myself to say yes. My siblings were starving. He arrived shortly with food, but as he left, he whispered, wear that same outfit tonight. Be ready. I stood silent, my stomach twisting. Later, he returned. I was dressed as he demanded, but my heart rebelled. The moment he entered, he pulled me against his chest, his lips scraping my neck. I burned with shame. My fists clenched, eyes shut tight. I wanted to push him away. His touch felt like acid, but my siblings' future changed me there. Then slowly he lifted me into his arms and carried me to my father's bedroom. The door clicked shut behind us. From tonight, he said, pressing me onto the bed, I'll take care of everything. Just be mine. Suddenly, a voice inside me screamed, this is wrong. I gasped, I can't do this. One night, he interrupted, and I'll never trouble you again. No visits, no demands. Just one night, I whispered. He nodded. I closed my eyes, like a dove shutting its eyes before a cat's claws. What followed was slow torture. His hands, his weight, his greed. I muffled my sobs, but the room echoed with them. Pain split through me. His love was just violence wrapped in lies. Dawn came, and with it, the crushing realization I had lost everything. My stomach ached so badly that I could barely stand, but I endured it, telling myself it was just one night. After this, Khalid uncle would take care of me and my siblings. But the next night, my blood turned to ice. Khalid uncle arrived with another man and coldly said, you'll spend the night with him. My mind shattered. I shook my head, crying, what are you saying? Then he waved his phone in my face. Photos of me, half naked. My legs buckled. If you refuse, he hissed, I'll spread these pictures all over the neighborhood. No one will let you or your siblings live here anymore. Even the neighbors will stone you out. I turned to stone myself. He forced me into the room with that man who tore me apart. Khalid uncle took a heavy price from him, keeping half the money and tossing me the rest. That's when I heard my father's voice echo in my ears. Beta, whether it's a friend or a stranger, never lower your head before any man. Abba used to say this often. I'd rarely been alone with Khalid uncle before. Around Abba, he'd acted so kind, so pious. I'd only seen his mask. I never imagined the monster beneath. And so the game began. They'd bring us groceries, and at night, Khalid uncle would drag in a new man to break me, collecting payment each time. I was drowning in misery, but couldn't speak a word. Our own family had abandoned us after Aba's death. The neighbors didn't care how we orphans survived. Then the day came when my patience snapped. Through tears, I confessed everything to my math teacher. A man so gentle and righteous, he checked on me often after Abba's death, offering help I'd refused out of fear. But now, with nothing left to lose, I told him. He froze in horror, then vowed, don't worry, I'll help you. He filed a police report. Khalid uncle was arrested immediately. At 14, I was a minor. What he'd done to me was charged as assault. My teacher was the one who fought the case against Khalid uncle and his accomplices. Not only did he stand by me, but he also made the neighbors realize how they had failed to protect us orphaned children. When the community learned of the horrors I'd endured, they were ashamed. Slowly, they began to care for us. But those 6 months of suffering under Khalid Uncle and his men left scars I could never erase, no matter how hard I tried. After enduring such hell, I finally understood something profound. We never truly value our parents while they're alive. We don't realize their worth until they're gone, until we feel the crushing weight of their absence. When my father was alive, I didn't appreciate him either. The emptiness left by my mother's death turned into resentment toward him. I'd lash out, accusing him of neglecting our needs, of not fulfilling our wishes. But after he passed, it hit me. He'd sacrificed everything, working day and night just to keep us happy. He'd mortgaged his own comfort for ours. By the time I realized this, it was too late. He was already gone. Now I pray for my departed father endlessly. I beg his forgiveness in absentia because I broke his heart so many times. If only I'd cherished him instead of hurting him, this regret wouldn't gnaw at my soul today. To all of you reading this, treasure your parents while they're still here. Serve them, love them, because these moments never return. No matter how much I weep and call for them now, my parents will never come back. As for me, I've begun to dream again. For my siblings' future. I want to educate them, to help them stand tall in this world. Pray for me.